If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss along with Paulie Howard live downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Busy show lined up. Coming on today's program, Jensen Lewis, MLB, host here on VSiN in the mornings. A lot of day baseball today on the card. Brian Mahoney live in Boston. Game 2, Celtics and the Knicks. Doug Kazarian as well. We'll be on to talk about NBA playoff betting. We have mayhem in the playoffs, a ton of day baseball. We have props galore that we'll get into. And the breaking news now in the NBA is that Steph Curry is going to be out for at least a week with the hammy. So did not look good immediately last night when they said that. The speculation was maybe they can get him back by Game 5, maybe not. They do catch a break in between those games later on because the WNBA team in San Francisco, they start, so there's a 4-day break. So, my God, if of all things, for them to hold on to win the game last night without him getting hurt in the second quarter, and then for that 4-day break to come later on in the series, if they can just keep extending this somehow and get him back. But how about that performance from Minnesota?
Yep.
To begin the game.
Vomit-inducing. I shut the game off. It was so bad. And of all these crazy comebacks and a wild NBA playoffs, you would think they would make a comeback, and they never made a run. Cut it to 9, and that was it. Down 23 without Curry. And again, it wasn't hardcore analysis. The team from Minnesota is expected to win. You know what's going to happen. I'm glad we mentioned that yesterday with the 4 days off, which really helps Curry and the Warriors now. Question is, does he come back and play Game 5 on that Wednesday? That'll be big, but out a week. And I can't believe some of the comments. I mean, you're talking about a playoff game, and I know I love the NBA and it's been so good, but you never hear this kind of stuff in the NHL, especially playoff time. Finch, after the game, calling out Edwards, What is there to talk about? You're the leader of the team. Set the tone, carry the energy, bring the right energy from the opening tip. It's the second round. If you're not bringing the right energy into the game, we're not on the same page.
Oh, he was terrible. The whole team was terrible for the first... Well, pretty much the entire game.
0 of 15 from 3. Again, it goes back to Boston, or the other night where it's, I don't understand it. If the shot's not going in, don't give me this. Well, it's like Ty Jerome. You're 1 of 14. It's not your night.
Yep.
You're 0 of 15 from 3. The Celtics were 2 of 17 from 3 in the fourth quarter. Attack, attack, attack. What you're doing isn't working.
So 12 of 76 now in a 2-game span.
That's right. Oh, it comes on the heels. Right. It comes on the heels of the Laker Game 5 where they were so bad.
So I'm a little bit afraid of the Celtics tonight, right? Because what did they learn from the other night? But this is just, you had a perfect spot here for Minnesota, too, because you beat the Lakers in 5 games, and you were sitting there waiting in the weeds for Minnesota, who had to play that 7-game grinder against Houston, and they had 1 day off to travel right to Minnesota and play the game. And you were a big favorite, and you come out and you lay that absolute stink bomb to begin. Now, without Curry, you got to love their chances to come back and, probably win this series still. They're minus 150 in that neighborhood to come back and win it.
You saw that low?
Yeah.
I saw $1.90 today.
Oh, that was this. Well, maybe it changed.
But the news, right? Well, yeah, because they lose the game, and then the series price goes up just because he's out a week.
Think about that for a second.
So that's you're right. So it's right there for him. To get this done, and it just that shouldn't happen. 31 points at the half.
Oh my God!
And without Curry, and how bad you were offensively, and to be down 23 is just a joke. And they finished 5 of 29 from 3 as well. So you got to pay a tax. They're 10.5 tomorrow in Game 2. I'll tell you this though: no one punts on a game quicker or better than Golden State. If this is huge for in play, if they are down big early, Kerr will just say no mas, and we'll get ready for Game 3. So we've also kicked around rust against rest. And it's not the be-all, end-all, but certainly the last couple games it says, I don't want this time off I'd rather, even though it's a short turnaround, you saw what Denver did and you saw what happened last night, go Bear after the game. Maybe we needed to get ready to play a high-intensity game. Not playing for 6 days, I think we weren't really feeling that intensity. They had nothing.
You lost and you were embarrassed in the Western Conference Finals last year in 5 games.
Yeah, it's another
Do you
one.
not remember? I get it. We have short memory problems here in this country, but you were the ones who lost and got spanked with home court. No intensity. Yeah, forget last year. I don't remember that happening.
Not ready
Good
to play.
Lord.
I will say DiVincenzo's almost unplayable at this point, too. How bad's he's been?
Yeah, he's not been great.
And then, the Randall.
Draymond's been awesome, by the way.
Yeah, knocked down all those shots, sure. And then the Buddy Hield show again. Monster props cashed on that guy again. Most points. So that, from a series standpoint, about threes and points, that really opens it up with Curry out. But, you're right. I mean, the Randall in the L.A. series, where was he? He was atrocious. Whole team was bad. It was embarrassing.
But this now, down 1-0 in the series, this is where you're going to want to back. Now, laying that many points, that's a huge number. I'm quite confident Minnesota comes out with a much better performance. That's easy. That's very, Captain Obvious here checking in. But I would much rather have Minnesota when their backs are against the wall. We talked about this yesterday with Aaron Renning. Than when they're like the front runner. I want nothing to do with this team when expectations are high. No, thank you. You can have them. But when they're like the dog and people are picking against them and nobody's giving them the
Denver.
Yeah, exactly right.
It's like they're better on the road, too.
Sure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. So
they better be up at least 2-1 or 3-1.
I think they will be.
They have to be.
Yep.
Don't do what Houston did. Don't lose a game when Curry's out.
Sure.
So you better be up at least 2-1 if he comes back or 3-1. And if it's 2-2 with the 4 days off, you gave him life and you could lose the series.
Yep. And in the other one, so you're telling me that if you go back a week, we had 1,638 games in the NBA going all the way back to 1997-98, where teams were trailing by 7+ points in the final minute of the fourth quarter or overtime, and a team won one of those games.
Yep.
Now, fast forward to today, it's 3 for 1,640. The Pacers have 2 of those wins in the last week. Are you serious? Again,
I don't know. I give up. I give up. I don't know what I'm watching here. With these comebacks and blown leads and turnovers and missed free throws, and Mitchell was great, but he missed 2 free throws, and then the elbow where he turns it over. You're up 7 with 48 seconds. How do you not box out on the free throw? I mean, how do you not box out? You give that up. Then you turn it over. Then Strus turns it over. Then you can't get a rebound off them, and Halliburton hits the 3. I mean, it's just bad shots, turnovers, or you can't, and they blow a 20-point lead. They're up 20 with 6 minutes left in the third quarter. I don't know what's going on here.
You got to be feeling pretty good with Pacers 19-1 in pocket now to win. That's just to win the East.
That's to win the East, yeah. Well, they have a good team, certainly. But
yes, they do.
And now I'm only $2 to win the series. I think it's short. First things first, we'll see who plays Friday for the Cavs, but the season's on the line even though they're favored. But I thought the series price was outrageous. And Cleveland's given them a lot of help. So to win all these games and to get the 1 seed and to come out and play like this, Mitchell was awesome, but it's a joke. You're up 20 with 6 minutes. You can't, in the third quarter, in a game you have to have. You can't make mistakes like that, and I don't understand. It's like March Madness, right? It's the year of the comeback in the last 6 weeks. What Florida did, what happened in the Duke-Houston game, and then here up 7 with 40 seconds, and OKC was up 9 with 2:30, and all these teams lose.
There you go. By the way, it's already a winner. Pacers plus 2.5 games for the series. Cash that ticket. That's good.
Thanks for pointing that out.
That was minus 130, so that's in the bag already.
Yeah.
Now, I think as long as they make the games below 230 for the totals,
yeah, right.
I think you got to keep going with the over, right? So here's my analogy to last night, and I'll comp it to playing blackjack. To me, pretend you're the Cavaliers and you're at the blackjack table, and for a good 3.5, 4 hours, like you have control, right? You're having an unbelievable night playing blackjack. Then at the very end, they bring in a brand new dealer out of the bullpen, and you start to give away some of your money, and you're losing. But then the card count is completely in your favor, and that last hand is when Halliburton's at the free throw line, and you double down, and you get a 20, and the dealer has a 4, and she pulls over another 4, but then Halliburton gets the rebound. There's another 4. He dribbles back to the free throw line. Beyond that, to the three-point line as well. He takes the shot, makes the 3, and that is like the dealer pulling a 6-card 21 when you're sitting there with a 20 on a double down. And you just have to walk away from the table disgusted and pissed off. You're having a great night, and it finished in just the most miserable way imaginable. of all things for that to happen. He's got to get his own rebound. He doesn't know what to do with the basketball. Is somebody open? Do I take a shot right now? No, I'm going to keep dribbling back. I make a move. I get open. Bam, let me pop it from 28. Oh, goes in. We win the game?
Yep.
Holy hell.
Yep. Should never come down to that.
No, ever.
Nice job by the fans, too. Channing overrated at him as well. Like, come on now.
Just knock it off already. Who
The
thinks
guy's
this,
good.
by the way?
I know. The guy's good. What are we doing? So that was incredible that they've done this twice in the span of a week.
In a week?
What they've done.
Come on.
I know. Yeah. God, I can't believe this. This really opens up the future market, too. So the Celtics go back to $1.30 to win the East, and then it's just chaos with the future odds that you got Cleveland down 2-0 and OKC's down and Curry's out, and it's just a mess.
Got to tell you, over the years of watching, and we have more parity now in the NBA than I think we've had in, pretty much forever, because for several years, even Barkley would come on the pregame show before the season would start every year. I think 3 teams can win it. That goes back, 10, 15, 20 years. Watching the sport, I think this is refreshing. There's no true dominant team, and this can happen with a 3-point shot now. Like it, hate it, love it, whatever. But when teams go ice cold like the T-Wolves, and we said that yesterday, if they come out and shoot like, you know what, we're going to keep chucking the ball, and if we don't make it, we're going to keep throwing it up like we did against the Lakers, and they're not going to go in. They're not going. You can't keep winning those games in today's NBA. Unsustainable. And they had their asses kicked last night.
Yep.
As a result.
I just can't believe that it doesn't click where it's like, okay, this is 2 games of this now. This is not our game. We're not knocking the shots down. Let's be aggressive down low, and Ant's got to penetrate, right?
Yeah.
Smarter bets start here and last all year long with VSiN Pro. We're slashing the price of our annual subscription, normally $240, now just $199. When you sign up today, we'll throw in an extra 2 months for free, so it's 14 months, less than 50 cents a day. Code PRO, 14 months. Every best bet, every host, every guest, the betting splits, the 24/7 video, the dog videos, and the special edition guides. Code PRO. 14 months, less than 50 cents a day. VSiN.com/subscribe. The Mackin and Trends as well.
All right, we have day baseball, including the Dodgers starting in about 30 minutes. I have a couple of bets on that game. We'll break out the home run tracker as well. And tonight's playoff schedule coming up as well. Starting to see some buyback on game day. I agree with that. It's Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
This is the hour coming up. We're getting a plethora of props for tonight's action. We'll head back to Boston, Game 2, Celtics, Knicks. Brian Mahoney's at the game. Here, we begin talking some Major League Baseball and a little NBA as Jensen Lewis joins the program now, host of VSiN by the Book, 7 a.m. Eastern Time right here on VSiN, and he is on the Progressive Guest Line. Jensen, good afternoon. Good to talk to you as always. How are you?
Good, guys. Great to see you again. Always appreciate being on with you.
Back at you. You live in the city of Cleveland. Level of panic after last night's loss to the Pacers. And what are you hearing about Game 3? I know it's early on the heels of losing that game last night, but do you think they get a combination of those 3 players back?
Yeah, I think at least one, if not 2, and the hope would obviously be all 3. And, Paulie, I think you said it. Stellaris, basically pukes over the side of the wall, but we can't get Darius Garland to, bandage up the toe and be able to gut it out there. So I think frustration overall, Mitch, is probably the biggest sentiment waking up today because of what the regular season looked like, what they did against the Heat. Okay, game 1 happens, so be it, but you're up 14 headed into the fourth quarter, and then, you're up 7 with under a minute to go. I mean, you have to get that across the line, especially when Donovan Mitchell gives you almost 50 points. So there is a level of panic here that is much more escalated, but I think we wait maybe a little bit more till tomorrow once we get the workouts in Indianapolis and get a better idea of the potential to get maybe all 3 of Darius and Evan and DeAndre Hunter back.
So unfortunate They can't blow this, and I don't like their chances in Game 3. I can't believe what I'm watching, not only with Cleveland, but the rest of the league, where silly turnovers, missed free throws, and not boxing out in the last 30, 40 seconds of a game.
I'd tell you what's fascinating too, guys, is when you look at teams that have played so well at home, and we think the Cavs and the Thunder, and I'm going to go back to the well on the Thunder and lay the points tonight. I'm probably going to get hurt and burned by that again, but that to me is the one part of the NBA postseason. I know JVT wrote about the home court issues for teams being able to cover and even win. But to me, there has to be an ultimate sense of urgency. If you're the Thunder, you cannot allow Denver to come in here and kind of have their way and just fundamentally not execute down the stretch, especially in your home court. So hopefully it is, Shea and company getting out there and absolutely laying the wood early. And then the Nuggets just kind of punt and get ready for Game 3.
Yeah. All right. So I made a bet over the weekend in Major League Baseball. You're a former pitcher, of course. I did it because I'm buying in a little bit about a month into the season with the Mariners offense, and then I would expect at some point guys like Gilbert and Kirby will come back and join the rotation. At that point, I think maybe potentially watch out. But I also found like 33-1 on them, and other books had 16 and 20. So I thought, that's a pretty good number. You wanted to take a peek at two different teams in the American League to win the AL pennant. Who are they and why?
Yeah, I love the Mariners pick. You and I aligned right there because I do have them winning the American League West from the preseason. I'll give you the first one. That's the Rangers at 9-1. Hey, Brett Boone is not just going to come in day one and, oh gosh, everything changes. Okay, they can hit now. I do feel that they have yet to really kind of get everyone going. Right now, they got arguably the best rotation in all of Major League Baseball. Their bullpen has been pretty serviceable, but they're still lying in the weeds here offensively with guys like, Marcus Semien and Corey Seager, Jock Peterson, a very, very slow start. Adolis Garcia has started to pick it up a little bit. To me, that's the team that has the most depth from an offensive standpoint, that 1 through 9, when they're rolling, they can pretty much beat anybody in front of them. So they really stood out to me, Mitch. Also, for maybe a little bit more of a lottery ticket, the Minnesota Twins at 20-1. They can pitch. They will be in every game. It's just a matter of, can you keep Buxton Correa and Royce Lewis healthy? I think they have definitely some slug in them when that lineup is right. And to me, if you wanted to kind of jump in and maybe have some hedge opportunities, if they find their way into the postseason, I think the Twins, you can do worse than them in the American League, but I think the parity ultimately leads us to get to August, September, and still probably have 6 or 7 options to come out of the junior circuit.
Okay, very good. How about Fade Brigade? Cleveland won today 8-6, but set this up for the audience, what we're about to see about what you think of worst rotations and why the Guardians are a bit of a fraud.
Yeah, Paulie, Eno Saris from The Athletic doing a real deep dive for some of you geeks and stat heads out there. A lot more of the analytics data giving you an idea that perhaps some of the teams that you would think could be contenders by their record thus far have really a lot of fugazi, as you like to call it. The Guardians right now are the worst rotation as far as some of the underlying metrics go. And if you go to Fangraphs and you look up stuff plus, location plus, pitching plus, basically boil that down, guys. It's a more efficient way to objectively be able to grade out rotations and pitching staffs overall. So you can kind of see, if you're watching on VSiN.com, VSiN Watch app, this is kind of an idea of where some of the results may lend themselves. It's a more accurate predictor of what the future is going to hold. And to have that Guardian team at the top of that list, there is not maybe more than 2 teams, I think, amongst that group of 7 that could potentially make the postseason. So you obviously have the worst teams in Colorado and Miami. The Athletics, I think, maybe heard from more so than others because I think their offense has a bit more firepower. But to me, I think it's been a lot of smoke and mirrors from this Guardians rotation particularly.
Not a playoff team is what you're saying.
I wouldn't think so. At this point, I don't know if that back half of the lineup, Mitch, scares you. Maybe doesn't even scare me to go get 3 outs. But I think they need a lot of help offensively, too.
Well, I'll tell you, though, now this is one series here against Washington, but maybe there's an angle here where you can play some, derivatives or play full game totals to the over because they're scoring runs now again against the Nationals. But if the pitching really is that bad when they play good teams, maybe look at taking some overs here in these games.
No doubt. And that upcoming series now over the weekend at Progressive Field against the Phillies may be a great spot If you're looking at Philly team totals, that might be a spot on Friday night. Gavin Williams probably going to get the ball that first game. Tanner Bybee has actually been better. He goes against Ranger Suarez on Saturday. But you're right. Definitely a lot of angles to be able to attack this Guardian pitching staff.
There's some great seasons going on by now from individual players. How are you playing Schwarber props with the on-base 41 games in a row and obviously all 35 this year?
I love him again tonight when you think about where those opportunities will be, Paulie. Just knowing the Rays and where left-handed hitters really benefit there at George Steinbrenner Field, knowing it's the exact dimensions of Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Anytime you can target guys with slug there, that's what you want to do from the left side. It's been a remarkable stat there that you mentioned, Paulie, going all the way back to last season. He has just been a force to be reckoned with. May traditionally is a great month for him in the power department. Just a couple of years ago when he hit, 20 bombs in the month of May, 20 plus, I believe. And so I think Schwarber, a guy where you're looking at that Philly offense, waiting for them to really kind of take off here a little bit. They've also been lying in the weeds, but I do think the Phillies will definitely be heard from here in the coming months.
All right. How about same division, different team? The Mets right now lead the Diamondbacks 1-0, and they have that run courtesy of a Juan Soto solo blast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So are you betting him on a daily basis, or are you looking at him maybe in the MVP market?
Certainly, and a lot of ways to go with him. Really an intriguing market for the National League MVP, guys. Wide open still, and we're waiting, obviously, for Shohei Ohtani to ascend to the mound, and I would assume that if he does what he normally does, then it's going to be hard to run him down if he continues his offensive onslaught thus far. But if you wanted to take, and it's crazy to say this out loud, guys, a flyer on Juan Soto at 16-1 to win the most valuable player in the National League, I can offer you far worse options. So I think for him, knowing that Pete Alonso, and I think you guys have talked about it throughout the week, Pete's been off to an unbelievable start, especially in a walk year. There's going to be some regression there from him. And when that happens, that's usually when a Juan Soto type ends up taking off and carrying an offense. So he's in that sweet spot in the order two behind Lindor in front of Pete. And so I think a lot of opportunities to be able to buy in while that price is where it is.
I'll say this, Will Hill hosting here on the network going back to last year. And if Will, you're listening, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this. It was around maybe this time of year when Aaron Judge was not off to a great start. And he came on and he said, you might want to buy low right now on Aaron Judge at 16-1 to win the MVP. And eventually he just obviously took off and he ran away with the award.
And again, there's a guy to target tonight. You talk about specific matchups, Judge 2 or more total bases. And if you want to take a home run prop on him against Dylan Cease, great career numbers. Of course, the prowess that Judge has shown already out of the gate there at Yankee Stadium. So no doubt about it, would definitely look at him, for those day-to-day props when he's playing at home for sure.
I noticed that based on what happened yesterday in Colorado, there was a rain-out between the Rockies and the Tigers, and they play a doubleheader now tomorrow, not today. I thought for sure Scuba was going to go tomorrow.
Yeah, I thought,
It looks like they're going to push him to Thursday. Or check that on Friday, which is going to be a weird spot for him. I wanted to see like the Tigers laying $6 against the White Sox in early May. But unfortunately, we're not going to get that opportunity.
There's time. They're on pace for 133 losses. This is nuts.
I've never seen anything like it, guys, period, from White Sox baseball last year. My former teammate, Grady Sizemore, I even told him, I said, when he obviously took over as interim manager, I'm like, I don't know how you're doing it, man. And fortunately, guys, really rallied to play for him. But this year for Will Venable and company, it is just a tad better, not much. But the Colorado situation, guys, we didn't think it could get worse than last year. It's unbelievably bad the way they're going right now.
That's well said. You thought that was going to be rock bottom for any team ever in baseball. And here we are 1 year later, and it's worse.
Yeah.
So, All right, Jensen, great talking to you, man. Good luck tonight and this week. We appreciate that.
Thanks, guys. Talk again soon.
There you go. VSiN by the book, 7 a.m. Eastern time, right here on VSiN. He joined us on the Progressive Guest Line.
Giants won again. 22-5 against righties. And 7-0 when Ray starts.
This is a very good sign because the Cubs have been mauling left-handed pitching all year long. So that tells me Robbie Ray is like back, baby.
Yep. Hell of a job. And I knew there was more NFL news. My damn computer wasn't working. A year ago, Jacksonville gave Gabe Davis $40 million. They cut him today.
Yeah, good job.
How about that?
Good job out of them. We will update the MLB scoreboard coming up, and I do have a bet in that Rockies-Tigers game. I'll tell you what it is coming up next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
NBA playoffs tonight, 2-game twos. Go back east here. We'll talk Celtics, Knicks, Brian Mahoney, good friend of the show. Been covering the sport for a long, long time for the Associated Press. He joins the program now on the Progressive Guest Line. Brian, always a pleasure. Thanks for the time today. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Doing really well. What were you thinking watching game one when the Celtics put up those 63s? They were not going in, but you know what? They just kept chucking and chucking, man.
Yeah, I mean, my thought was the Knicks better win that game because no team will ever shoot that poorly again, you wouldn't think. And, if the Knicks had lost that game when the Celtics, missed NBA record for 45 3-pointers, that almost feels like a second loss. I mean, that's hard to come back from. So to the Knicks' credit, they went out and got it. And, they'll have to, I assume, get the rest of these without so much help from the Celtics.
What do you think of things from the Boston standpoint that if you're wide open, okay. But in a tie game in the fourth quarter, taking step-back contested threes and not being aggressive and going to the basket, that's what didn't make any sense because they were 2 of 15 from 3 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and they were probably just as bad, if not worse, in the third. So the pattern was developing. And yes, I mean, it's one thing if you have nothing else you can, there is no plan B, but these are an NBA champions. There is a plan B, a plan C for them. And at some point, you got to go to it. Jason Tatum is one of the top 5-6 players in his league. He's got to have something besides shooting that step-back contested three. I mean, Jaylen Brown has been a little hurt with his knee. Maybe he doesn't have the same lift right now, but, Holiday was just hurt. Maybe they don't have the confidence right now in their driving ability. But obviously, you got to find something else because that just wasn't the way to go.
Mm-hmm. Where do you think the points are coming from tonight for the Knicks other than Jalen Brunson? Can you expect that kind of a game again from OG Anunoby? Is Towns going to show up in this series and give him like 25 a game moving forward? Who is that other guy going to be other than Jalen Brunson tonight?
Yeah, I assume Towns will play better. That was a really bad night for him, Mitch. But, Anunoby's a real key for them. I really believe when you watch their games, if Anunoby is their best player and sometimes even the best player on the floor, they look really good. If he is scoring besides defending, sometimes he has such a responsibility defensively. His offense doesn't come at all. But when he plays like he did in that second half, go back to game one against Detroit, they're just a totally different team. So if they get that, then they got a shot at this.
Did some people say you were too hard on Cat on social media? I actually thought you made good points. But what did you think of your assessment of Cat's performance?
Well, luckily you like what I say, but a lot of people don't.
Okay.
But, I thought looking back at it, maybe I sort of, it didn't read exactly the way I meant. I didn't mean to say the guy was, awful player. He was having a really bad night. And I thought that it was sort of, taking something out of the Knicks. And when he went off the floor, I thought they sort of picked up their level. They need to see him play well. And, if he plays that poorly again, it's hard for them to think they do have enough points coming from the rest of the team.
Right. Do you think the rebounding is going to be there again from him tonight? He had 13 in that game. He had really good rebounding numbers against the Celtics and this is the betting question because I want to bet him over 10.5. And he had an awesome stretch this year where he was going way over that number. But also, Brian, I'm a little afraid that, the foul trouble is going to show up again. What did he have, 5 again the other night? That guy, man, he just fouls all the time.
Yeah, and it's a real risk, Mitch, because obviously the way they're switching on defense, he had to pick up Tatum or Brown a lot, and they were going kind of straight line drives at him. So that is a risk. On the other hand, Mitchell Robinson, they were going to the hack-a-Mitch, and he was missing him so badly, they're going to have to take him off the floor, maybe play Towns more minutes. So if he doesn't get the fouls, he'll probably play more minutes than usual, and maybe those rebounding numbers will be where he wants him to go.
OG is so good. How about his performance too? And if he can continue that, maybe he won't hit that many threes and give you 30-plus points, but he was phenomenal in game one.
He really was. And, when he got to New York, last year, he was looked at as a guy who was a great defensive player and, hit some threes from the corner. But when he puts the ball on the floor, he's athletically so good. He is way beyond where he was when he got here and way beyond what I think even they hoped he might become this season.
Higher scoring game, totals 211.
I would think so. I think the numbers will go up a little bit. Again, the Celtics can't be that bad. If you throw a couple of these threes in, even if it's not a good shooting night, it's got to be better. So I would expect a higher number this time around.
Okay. Is Tibbs safe now?
It's certainly he's in a better situation. No one really knows if he was in that much trouble or isn't that much trouble. But you can't look at it and say he wasn't prepared. The stuff he did in game one certainly worked. So, if they get stomped 4 in a row from here, who knows what happens? But I think right now it's a hard case to say that the coach is the problem based on what we've seen through, one round and game one.
Yeah. I feel I have to ask the question, though, too, based on how crazy things have been in the last month around the league, right? I mean, Malone won a title 2 years ago, and they whacked him.
Yeah, no, you're right, Paul. I mean, the changes are being made. The changes where, you say, okay, whoa, are they sure? Even Memphis, that was a guy who had a great couple of years run over there, Taylor Jenkins. So, yeah, I mean, some of these moves are being made, and they're questionable moves. But, yeah, you could see where they would want to change things up anyway. But I think Tom Thibodeau has the support of certainly Brunson and a lot of his other top players.
Well, Brian, we've certainly had some shocking results so far in the second round in the playoffs. I mean, look no further than the other team that we thought was going to be playing Boston to go to the NBA Finals, and the Cavaliers are down 2 games to none now to the Pacers after losing again last night. Are you hearing anything yet about the status of those 3 players who missed last night? I know the game's a couple nights away now, but anything yet that you're hearing?
I have not yet, Mitch, and a couple of those injuries were pretty hard. I mean, that was a hard fall Hunter took. You hope he can, for Cleveland's sake, shake that off quickly. Garland's got an injury that's, it's tough to get over that and play the way he needs to play. But, obviously one of the things that makes Cleveland who they are was the great depth they have. Without that, they're just not the same team, unfortunately.
What do you think of Minnesota Golden State with Curry out at least a week, and then he'll be reevaluated?
I just don't see where Golden State gets enough points. If Minnesota helps them the way they played so poorly defensively, yeah, Golden State's a great defensive team, and they can win a game in the 90s. But if Minnesota plays better, they should be able to get to a level that Golden State just can't get to. They just don't have any real firepower outside of Curry and sometimes Butler.
They got to. The T-Wolves have to win the next couple of games, right? With no Curry, they just absolutely have to. They got to take advantage of this now when they can.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, if you lose that series, or even if you're not ahead when he comes back, there's just no excuse for that. You are the better team right now, and you have home court advantage still if you go get one in Golden State. So yeah, this is a chance Minnesota can't let get away.
And then how about the other one then? Like, how much stock overall, and again, you've been covering the sport for a long, long time. We're talking to Brian Mahoney from the Associated Press. A lot of talk with Oklahoma City, still very young. They lost that series as the 1 seed last year to Dallas when they probably should have beaten them, and not gone 6 games and losing like that. And now they blow the game like they did in game 1 to a team that recently won the championship. They're veterans, obviously. They have experienced players. And now OKC has to come back and win by double digits tonight, according to the point spread here, Brian.
Yeah, I was surprised by that the other night. I thought Denver was going to be out of gas after getting out of the first round. I thought Oklahoma City is just better than them overall. And so that was one that they're going to, regret letting get away. Obviously, they should have won that game. Maybe it is the rust. They haven't played a ton. They swept that first round series, had a lot of time off. Maybe they just weren't totally themselves. But there were some concerns there. Obviously, the physicality that Jokic brings. Again, Holmgren and Hartenstein in the middle are not huge guys. He was kind of banging around in there. So there are some concerns, but I do think Oklahoma City still finds a way to get through this. I think they're a better team top to bottom.
You can follow Brian on X. He is at Brian C. Mahoney, covers the NBA for the Associated Press. Enjoy the games tonight. Brian, thank you for the time. We appreciate that.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
You too. And he was on the Progressive Guest Line.
Can OG do it again? He's 11-1 for most threes tonight.
What's he for most points?
Got that in game 1, dead heat with Brunson. He is 25-1.
I would like to lean no, but again, look at what happened to Buddy Hield in back-to-back games.
Mm-hmm.
And this is wild times right now in the NBA.
Yeah, I can't.
I'm not used to seeing this kind of stuff.
Absolutely. What's going on with the road teams? Rebounds, Cat plus 120, Tatum plus 240. You're all over Tatum for the series and in game 1. They say Porzingis is good to go after the flu and didn't play in the second half of game 1. So, Joker minus 240 in the late game, most rebounds.
Is he onto something there that Robinson might not have a spot because if they go to Hakamich,
right,
he's useless.
He is.
Meaning Towns has to be out there more, but then you have to bank on Towns not getting into foul trouble. If you told me right now Towns is going to play 38 minutes tonight, I would absolutely go ladder his rebound bets.
Yep. How about a little sense of urgency tonight, too? How about Celtics first quarter? I mean, let's go here, which I know they were up big, but and maybe you trust them more on the road. But it's stars have aligned. You have what's going on in the other series. You play Indiana, you're going to have home court.
Yeah.
It's right there for you. Not to mention the changes that could happen next year because you can't have that type of payroll with a new owner. Want to know where the money's really going? Unlike other sources, our betting splits come straight from Circa and DraftKings, giving you insight on where the sharp action's landing. Circa takes huge bets from pro bettors. See the percentage of bets versus percentage of handle on every game across every major sport, helping you make smarter, more informed bets. Get VSiN's exclusive betting splits for as little as $9.99. First month, VSiN.com/subscribe.
Dodgers Marlins scoreless in the fifth.
Come on.
Updated total is 5.5. Want to go over? Gonna get some runs here?
I don't.
We have a plethora of props to discuss for tonight's action. Might be climbing that ladder like I talked about. I'll explain why coming up next year on VSiN.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
All right, 2 more playoff games tonight in the NBA. Celtics, Knicks tipping off in Boston coming up in 30 minutes. And Doug Kazarian joins the program now. He's been betting the NBA for as long as I have known him. He loves the sport. He is currently in second place of the Killer Sports NBA Playoff Challenge right now on VSiN.com, 14-7 overall. Doug, good afternoon. Thanks for the time today. How are you?
Still stunned over what's happened and transpired in the NBA the last few days. Really remarkable. I mean, we've seen crazy things occur in March Madness, right? With double-digit seeds going the Elite Eight, and these teams make a run to the Final Four, and then it's different the next year. You know, this past March Madness, we just saw a lot of chalk prevail with the 1 seeds, but NBA is supposed to be the most predictable sport, especially the best of 7 series. It's not ridiculous that these game ones have seen some upsets, although double-digit underdogs are pretty surprising. It's just how they all happened, right? How the Pacers won yesterday, how the Knicks won game 1. It's really been remarkable. You know, yesterday's T-Wolves game's one thing because teams come in fat and happy all the time. I actually was on the Warriors' first quarter yesterday. I kind of anticipated that, but not a double-digit win without Curry. So there's been a lot of layers to this. You know, the Cavs-Pacers game 2, all right, there was 3 injuries. Line got to 5.5. Okay, maybe not as crazy. But the absolute collapses by teams that are favored to prevail in each conference, with OKC and Boston blowing those leads in the second half, that's what's most surprising. And you just wonder, in all these situations, what can we extrapolate? What can we use predictively moving forward in terms of trying to handicap game 2? And it's really difficult. You just wonder if OKC's coach is too green, doing the fouling too early, or the lines are just so heavy that it needs to be a complete blowout for the favorites to cover. So it's really been hard to kind of decipher and project moving forward.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah, I throw this at both you guys. Who would ever think about grabbing one of these dead dogs that are, right with a minute to go or 35 seconds to go that are down by 7 points? Hey, let me look at the money line. Hey, they're 65-1. I think who would do that? So anyway, Paul,
I tweeted yesterday when the Cavs were up double digits late third, and I just said, basically, this is what the Knicks and Thunder were in games 1, and that's how ridiculous it felt. At no point did I think the Pacers were coming back.
Sure.
And to your point, I mean, obviously, with a minute to go, and that's a much different situation. But even late third, the better team, quote unquote, double digits, you expect the team that's on the road to fold. We saw the T-Wolves. That was the one game they lost to the Lakers. Game 2 after stealing game 1, right? Mm-hmm. This is sort of like the NBA playoff betting 101, but those trends and the zigzag theory isn't 100%. It's about 62%, things like that. It's just crazy that the outlier outcomes occurred all consecutively. And who knows, maybe we're in for more tonight.
Yep, and this is right up your alley as an in-play assassin. The swings and the numbers you can take, other than the Minnesota performance, that you know that the comeback is going to come or happen at some point as well. How about the crazy props that have cashed? What Buddy Hield's done the last couple of games. Most points and threes. What Caruso did in Game 1, most threes. Because you're getting weird outcomes with blowouts and or, star injury, foul trouble. We've had some huge tickets cash with those props with the game leaders night in, night out.
You nailed it. You guys have been talking about it so much. Usually when a series is 3-0, so maybe sweep potential or blowout the other way, that's when you get the long shots in those sort of categories, those index bets. Not Game 1 or Game 2. Obviously Curry injury, but it's wild. And it makes me want to look deeper into this stuff and figure out a scenario. But it's funny, I was on the conventional outcome. Tatum to lead this current second round series in points was plus 100, minus 105.
Yeah.
Brunson was the second favorite. And then the next was Jaylen Brown at 12-1 or something like that. I thought Tatum had value, and it's okay if you don't lead each game in scoring, as long as you're scoring enough and outperforming the others. But you're right with the Caruso performance and some of these others, some of it's just a matchup in terms of just, which way to go. And I'm curious what happens in sort of the counter, right? Is Towns going to be in foul trouble again tonight? Mm-hmm. Are they going to put him in every pick and roll and then get him, moving his heavy feet? Thunder. What's going to happen when the Nuggets, like they did in Game 1, late send a double team to SGA and he has to pass it and the whole team sort of shifts like it's a zone with about 10 to go on the shot clock? Is it going to be make Caruso or someone else beat us, or is SGA going to initiate offense before that? Are the Warriors going to continue to go small ball with Draymond at center and with no Curry? Are they going to put Looney in the starting lineup and try to muck it up? I like what Steve Kerr's done with that second unit. He did it at the end of Game 5 in the blowout and brought them in, and they mucked it up, and the Rockets starters had to come back in. So I'm expecting some interesting things, and I think that's going to be some interesting props for tomorrow. If they put it up, Spencer for the Warriors is going to be a great over points bet. He's a guy who always produces every time he's in. I know Kerr's going to go to him, and I don't know if it's the running bank hook shot, but he's going to get his points. So if they put up a 6.5, a 7.5, something like that, I'm definitely going to pounce.
Okay, so what do you think of the point spreads overall tonight then? Double digits again overall. Do you think that the Celtics show off their, the veteran leadership here, the championship pedigree, and bounce back in a big-time spot? Again, they had the Knicks down by 20 in Game 1. Do they perform like that again tonight and not blow it?
Yeah, I mean, nothing's incremental, right? So you can't just assume it's going to be the next thing and then this time they'll hold on. But I do think Boston blows them out. Much like the craps where you throw the wheel, which is all the numbers, I guess, right? I think I'm doing first quarter, first half game on Boston. They are the better team. The Knicks defense stinks. Celtics will have a bounce in their step, will have more energy and more desperation. Now, the Knicks can put up points themselves, and they're relentless themselves. So they maybe hang around, but I just think Boston, that gap in talent is just too much, and they're going to shoot a bunch of threes. They're not going to, quote unquote, we learned our lesson in Game 1. Maybe in the second half, they'll attack, things like that. Tatum won't be doing so many step backs.
Yeah.
But they're going to look for the open three. They're going to attack. And I don't think New York has the resolve defensively to keep Boston, off the free throw line and not hitting open shots. I think the crowd will be rocking. And frankly, Boston may have taken them a little lightly and they were up 20 and things happen. Yeah. Give the Knicks all the credit in the world for not packing it in and say, all right, we'll get them Game 2. But I think the Celtics do pull away, and I'm laying the lumber in Boston. I'm not with OKC. I think with Jokic being that cheat code, he can play bully ball and keep Denver attached. I think guys like Westbrook and Watson will just bring the energy. And if Porter doesn't play because he's a defensive liability, and I think it's going to be hard to blow them out. I mean, with that being said, they were down 13 in the second half, but I do think OKC's a little timid and a little too relaxed. And if Denver strategically and schematically does that late double team in the second half to SGA, I think it's going to be tough to cover the 10. I'm not grabbing the 10, but I am abstaining from laying the lumber like I did with the T-Wolves yesterday, like I even did with the Cavs yesterday. I have enough scar tissue to know that I've been avoided some of these big big favorites, but I am going to jump on the Celtics tonight. Yeah, I'm definitely backing them.
How about Minnesota now? 2 minutes left, Doug. Minnesota, $1.90 series price. Curry out at least a week.
Yeah, I like the T-Wolves here. I think they're better when their back's against the wall. So I didn't like them in game one because I think they're better as the underdog. And, they were feeling themselves a little bit, doing the victory lap outside crypto in the LA streets after winning by 5 games and then the layoff. I think they're going to come to play. And honestly, it's really hard not to do a money line parlay with both favorites today and then Minnesota tomorrow. If they can't beat the Warriors without Curry, down 0-1, I'll be stunned. And same with the Thunder and Nuggets game. The Thunder have to win. Although we saw Denver, you guys touched on it earlier. Last year with Minnesota, the road team won the first 5 games. Mm-hmm. I'd be stunned, so be it, if I lose close to an even pick with one of those 3 favorites losing. Just the situational, the handicapping. Hey, Scott Foster, big injury news coming back. The self-proclaimed Michael Jordan of officiating. He'll be on the call in OKC. So I think we'll be okay. I think the favorites at least winning the game, especially how they lost games 1. They were the better team, or for the most part. But they're dangerous. The Dogs are dangerous. These are not teams that are definitely bad teams or anything like that, like we see sometimes in the first round.
I think I'll be on Wolves with the wheel, right, or around the world in that game tomorrow, specifically early first quarter, first half. But also, here's an angle. I think I'm going to play Anthony Edwards first quarter points over tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And he comes out like the player he was to close the game last night. Not like
Bench
the guy
ripped him. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's going to come out with his hair on fire, I think. So, anyway, Doug, great job.
There's no rim protection, right?
Yeah, right.
No rim protection for Golden State.
No, nobody. You can follow Doug on X. He's at Doug Kazarian. On Instagram as well. You can see his great dog, Arthur, that he posts up there, I think, 19 times a day. But also, you can play along with the Killer Sports NBA Playoff Challenge. Doug's in second place, 14-7. Great start, man. Good luck tonight. Enjoy the games. We appreciate that.
All right, thanks, fellas. Appreciate it. Good luck to everyone else.
Yeah, back at
Thanks,
you.
Doug.
I'm he's on the Progressive Guest Line. I think I still have, of my dog Dexter, who passed away 2.5 years ago, I think I have 400 photos on my phone still.
Oh, really?
So I get it. I mean, I was exactly that guy. Sure. Videos, photos, the whole thing. I went through them. I'm not deleting this stuff. So we'll get you updated on these Dodgers breaking it open now. Oh, boy. Watch out. That's next here on VSiN.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.